Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to do a segment of the Ice Age National Trail, which is one of the 11 National Scenic Trails in the United States, managed by the National Park Service. This one starts up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, heads south almost to the Wisconsin-Illinois state line, then hooks back way up north up to Minnesota state line. It's about 1,200 miles total. So this is kind of an interesting trail. We'll go over some of it, and it should be a lot of fun. I've never hiked this trail or any segment of it, so this is one of my bucket list trails to get all 11 of them done. So we'll be able to, chalk this one off on my list of the national trails that I want to hike a portion of. So we'll get started. Here's the trailhead here in southern Wisconsin. Nice little trailhead to Ice Age Trail. So one of the interesting things about this trail is it's not done yet. There are significant sections of it that, if you look at the map, I forgot the map in the truck. I better go get the paper map. But if you look at it, there's little dotted lines where it's not quite done yet. And they're purchasing more land and getting more access rights, so that way eventually it'll continue the entire course. So technically you can't hike this through from beginning to end yet, but hopefully one of these days the Ice Age National Trail Alliance and the National Park Service will get it all done. But let me go grab the paper map for safety, and then we'll talk to you again here shortly. All right, so I've got the paper map in my pocket just in case. Always got to be safe just in case GPS acts up. But we're gonna get started here. Get the Garmin going. And we'll see how it goes. I do think, okay, the blazes, looks like the blazes are blue, because they're not always consistent, so we'll see how this goes. So, the Ice Age National Trail is actually a national trail that kind of skirts the glacier lines through Wisconsin. So we'll see how the elevation is. We expect it, I expect it to be kind of hilly with all the moraines. We are actually at Kettle Moraine State Park, which is it's the southern unit. So Kettle Moraine Park has a northern unit, which is quite a bit further north. I believe it's closer to Oshkosh. And then the southern unit, which is where we're at, that is not too far from Janesville. So it's a lot. So far, it's starting a lot more open. As you can see behind me, kind of this savanna. But it looks like we're heading into some trees, hoping I don't get cooked. So the section I'm doing today is a little over 14 miles. I think it's 14.6 miles. I'm probably not going to do the whole thing. Tammy asked me not to be out here all day, and I still have a 2-hour drive home. So we're probably gonna get out there, walk out, maybe 5 miles, turn around, come back. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But it is 7.1 miles from where I'm at to the trailhead down here, and then back, so it ends up being 14.2 miles. So, and then you'll see here the Kettle Moraine State Forest Southern Unit. This is called the Blue Spring Lake segment because there's Blue Spring Lake. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they have these maps. Hopefully everything has lots of blazes like the NCT does. But this should be fun. So we'll get moving. So Oh, all kinds of neat little signs for waypoints. This is much better. Getting into the trees, into what we refer to as the green tunnel, where gingers like myself are right at home. When I was looking at the navigation at the elevation breakdown, it's got some elevation, as I expected, due to this being a glacier moraine where the glacier pushed up, all this these ridge lines of debris, for tens of thousands of years. I do expect that I will be breaking a sweat climbing some of the hills here in southern Wisconsin. Dan Becker, eat your heart out, I guess. Lots of pretty wildflowers for Tammy. I'm sure she would absolutely have to stop here. It's all these like wild daisy looking things with the honeybees. Swarms of honeybees getting ready for wintertime. Yeah, all along the trail here, all these beautiful wildflowers. Well, you can tell it's getting close to hunting season because apparently a couple miles up the road is a shooting range, and you can hear the gunfire, quite a bit of it. So I think all the Wisconsinites, I guess, are up here getting their rifles all sighted in and zeroed for hunting season. That's going to be firing up here soon in the next couple of months. So I'm sure they will rain carnage down on the white-tailed deer population. So I'm very glad I wore my boots and not my hiking shoes, because this trail is full of these glacier rocks and glacier boulders on top of the roots. So there is a tremendous amount of stuff to trip on. So far the elevation hasn't been bad at all, but yeah, the ground is not clear of obstacles. The trail is very well maintained, unlike some of the ones that we've seen that are trees laying over, every 30 or 40 yards. This one looks like the trail crews do an outstanding job. Also have discovered that the blazes are yellow, so we just have to keep an eye on the yellow blazes, and we'll keep on the right path. We also have all trails going, and like I said, got the map. But so far the trail is in great shape. There are a lot of gnats and flies. Some of the trail reviews over the last few weeks did say there's a lot of bugs. So I didn't put any bug repellent on yet, but may have to if they start biting. Right now they're just slightly annoying, which I can deal with. But we are almost a mile in, just shy of a mile into it, and going very well. I'm trucking along at a good pace, and it's nice and cool down in the trees, unlike when I was in that open savanna area. But oh yeah, see, here's an example of these glacier boulders. There's just rows and lines of them. So I'm definitely glad I wore my boots with the ankle support. I got my trekking poles, give me that extra point of contact, so I'm not busting my butt. Go home with anything all bruised and banged up. Don't want to do that. But yeah, the gnats are quite annoying. But as long as they're not biting, and I just walked through a spider web, so that's always interesting. It is absolutely peaceful out here. Outside the trailhead, I have not seen another person other than the occasional airplane or the gunfire. I haven't even heard of any human activity. It is really secluded and absolutely beautiful. All right, we are a little bit over 3 miles into the hike today. These gnats are so annoying. I finally had to stop and put on insect repellent. Didn't even affect them. So there's another small trailhead up here. When I get up, I'm going to get out my head net because they're in your eyes, in your mouth. They're just absolutely horrendous. They're not biting or anything. They just annoy the living crap out of you. They're flying right into my eyeballs. So doing good. We're 1 hour and 13 minutes into it at 3.17 miles. So my pace is really well. Gonna have to slow down a bit so I don't peter out at the very end, because there's some really serious elevation back there that I'm gonna have to deal with on the way back when I run a little low on energy. But all in all, I love this trail so far. So at mile marker 3, there is a horse trail, trailhead, and then it intersects with the hiking trailhead. And there's some picnic tables, and there's supposed to be a water source here. So I'm gonna top off water. It's gonna take a couple minutes and talk about hydration out on the trail. Clear off, my lens is getting dirty from sweat. Keeping hydrated out here is absolutely critical. One of the things they taught us in the Army is to watch the color of your pee. So you should be peeing like clear to slightly yellow. If it gets darker yellow or it starts to look even orange, you're dehydrated into very dehydrated. You need to start drinking water right away. And then if it gets to where it's like red or brown, you need to see a doctor. You have probably something more important going on. But you really lose water in 3 primary ways. Obviously sweat, it's in the mid 80s here. The sun's a bit intense, but it's not hot, but you can see here, I'm breaking a good sweat. Also urine, I just went into the wood line and peed, so you're gonna lose that, but you lose a tremendous amount of fluids out of your body through respiration. You're breathing. So when you're huffing and puffing going up and down these moraine hills, you're gonna lose a lot of moisture, a lot of water. So you have to keep hydrated. Like I've said before, I usually my standard is 1 liter per 5 miles. If it's hotter, I'll drink more than that. I really try not to drink any less. Getting out here and getting dehydrated, getting heat exhaustion can be really bad. Getting heat stroke can result in death. I mean, that is an absolute medical emergency. So you gotta keep hydrated. Like I've said before, I always carry more water than I need. I'm not gonna skimp out on water. And then also electrolytes. Usually that first bottle of water I drink is just regular water out of the filter at home. But that second liter I usually put in some sort of hydration pack that has potassium and sodium and different salts, because you're losing a lot of those critical electrolyte nutrients with your sweat. So it's really important, whether it's Element or any of the other products. You just put the little packet in there. It does make a big difference. And like I said before, it also, some of these water points have some water that's not the best tasting, so it helps cover that up. On this trail so far, we are like I said, 3 miles in. Hasn't been a whole lot of water sources. There's a lot of these lower lying swamp areas, which is where all these gnats are coming from. Would not really want to put those through my filter. I could, it would work, but it's going to really shorten the lifespan of the filter. So I try not to. So when at the very beginning, when you saw that little map that I showed, it actually showed this trailhead as a waypoint, and it had a little signal, a little symbol for a water source. So I knew that I could come here. I have a liter bottle that's about half full. I'm gonna hurry up and I'm gonna drink that back real quick during this quick break. Put in a hydration pack, top that off, and then should be good to go. That will be more than enough water for what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day, which I still haven't decided if I'm going to do 8 miles or 10 miles, because I'm feeling pretty good. But as we've seen with some of the other trails I've hiked, I can be feeling great, and then all of a sudden, hit a mile 6, mile 7, and just gas tank goes to empty. But so far, this has been a really great trail. With the elevation changes, this is what I probably need to spend more time doing in preparation for the Appalachian Trail trip next year. So I need to start coming up here and really hitting some of these moraine hills, because some of them are pretty steep. You're up, down, up, down, up, down. There's not a whole lot of just flat, walking on and on and on. So it probably conditioned my legs and parking lots for the elevation changes that we're going to see in Virginia. But all right, I'm gonna go and get this water thing all taken care of and get back on the trail. Okay, so we topped off my water, got a hydration pack in there, took probably a 10 or a 15 minute quick break. Got my head net in my pocket, so when these gnats start buzzing around me again, I'll pop that on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go another mile, kind of see how I feel, see what time it is, remembering that I've got a 2-hour plus drive home. On top of it, I drive right by the cheese castle. I mean, I literally drive right by it. It's the exit I got off to get here, so I might just have to burn a little bit of time stopping by the cheese castle. So I'll make a decision in a mile whether I go for mile 5 and then turn around, head back, or I just turn around at mile 4. So definitely want to get home at a decent hour. So a lot of this path is walking along these ridge and spur lines. And you see it drops off really steep here to the left, and it drops off really far to the right. And you're just walking along the peak of this little ridge line or spur line. So a lot of the elevation is to get up onto these high points, and then you just walk along the top where you can look down into the ravines and into the valleys in between these ridge lines. We get up here and look down. It's hard to on video get a good idea of how far down that is, but on this side it's several hundred feet. And then if you look down here, this is a nice steep decline going down the ridge line. So this is what these moraine forests look like, because when the glaciers came and pushed all of this up and then receded, and then the glacier came and pushed up another ridge line and receded, and it did it over and over and over again. So basically you get these ripples of boulders and soil that are 10,000 years old. So through erosion and plant growth, you get these really interesting geological formations. Makes for great hiking. All right, so I hit mile marker 4, and I'm gonna head back. I think 8's enough. Tammy and I had a good friend's retirement party last night, so we had a late night, got up early this morning. So I'm kind of wore out. Anyway, so she reminded me this morning when she was leaving for work that not every hike has to be an absolute threshold breaker, but I am allowed to just go out and enjoy an afternoon in the woods. So I think I'm going to take her advice. I'm going to turn around now, head back. We'll go back through that horse trailhead, and then back through the woods into the trailhead. We're at 1 hour and 43 minutes, so it'll probably take an hour and a half to get back, since I took like a 15-minute break when I refilled my water. So I won't have to make that stop again. So definitely coming back up here. This would be a great place to do an overnight. 10, 12 miles one day, 10, 12 miles the next. Maybe a big loop somewhere. Try to find a nice 20 to 25 mile loop. And this is definitely one of my favorite trails. This ranks right up there with the North Country Trail through Yankee Springs in terms of trail maintenance. It's rugged enough to be a challenge and to be interesting, but it's not so rugged that I'm going to break an ankle. Although I did slip on some gravel a little bit ago and kind of slid down on my butt a little bit, but nothing serious. The trekking poles allowed me to sit down nice and gently, because some of these hills are really steep. So, I'll get back on if I see anything interesting. All right, so just a little over 5 miles in, just past the horse path trailhead. Just started to get a big group of hikers that were coming the other way start to catch up with me, but they stopped to take a water break at that spot where I topped off, which was good, because they were one of those hiker groups that decided to have the Bluetooth speaker blaring their music on the trail. So don't be that guy. Total douchebag move. A lot of people are out here on the trail like myself because we enjoy the peace and quiet. Making a couple of recordings here or there when there's nobody around is not a big deal. But when you've just got music blaring and you're bebopping down the trail, oblivious to whoever's around, it's just kind of a jerk way to ruin the experience for everybody around you. It's just one of those things, pet peeve. It's like dropping trash on the trail as far as I'm concerned. It's just you're ruining it for everybody else. So use your earbuds, or better yet, leave the music at home and listen to nature. You're surrounded by sounds. Got the sun in the camera. So we're, like I said, we're 5.25 miles in. It leaves us 2 3/4 till we're at the trailhead in the truck. All right, I hit mile 7 and 1 mile left and back to the trailhead. Got one more bad mamma jamma of an elevation I gotta tackle. So I'm hoping if I just ignore it, it'll go away, but we know that's not true. The loud and obnoxious hiking party caught back up with me, so I just kind of pulled off to the side and found a tree stump and let them pass. Yeah, I definitely stayed up too late last night. Did not get enough rest. So, moral of the story, make sure you get plenty of rest when you're going for these rough hikes. So, we'll see you in about a mile when we get to the trailhead, and we'll summarize the hike for today. All right, I'm coming up on the trailhead now, right around the corner. I can hear all the racket from the noisy people. So I'll do my final summary here while it's still a little quiet. It was a great hike. This is a great trail. I definitely, next time I'm here, need to give myself more time. I need to get here earlier. I also need to make sure I get better sleep the night before, because 8 miles should not have me feeling this booked. So we've got just up here around the corner is the truck. Throw everything in there, and then we've got a little over 2-hour drive back home. Oh, that root just jumped up at me. But highly recommend this trail if you happen to be in southern Wisconsin. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'll see you next time on the trails.